What's going on, Jeromes? Today is the 25th anniversary of the Vikings selecting Randy Moss, number 21 overall in the 1998 draft. And it was a beautiful day. It really was, because that was the first NFL draft that I really paid attention to the whole process. And it's like, oh, Peyton Manning coming out of Tennessee. Oh, Ryan Leaf coming out of Washington State. Oh, he's got a big arm. He's got a pissant attitude, but oh, mama, I can change him. Or you had Charles Woodson in that mix. And of course, Randy Moss. That's right. We're in number 8, the pride of West Virginia, former high school basketball teammate of Jason White Chocolate Williams, the guy who ended up at Marshall. He was initially at Florida State. He was initially at Notre Dame, ended up at Marshall was D2 his first year there, and then they went up to D1. And just the highlights, the absolutely insane highlights that he put up. And also, what was great about it is the mystique, right? Because video technology wasn't great back then, like VCR, VHS, grainy. Oh, we got to hit the tracking button. So you'd see highlights of him against Akron, against Army, against Podunk School, whatever. And he was just out there taking screen passes from Chad Pennington, turning it up 88 yards for a touchdown, hurdling dudes, and just Moss and dudes all over the place, having multiple touchdowns, 150, 200-yard games. It was absolutely insane. And I wanted it. I needed it. 6'4", could run a 4.3. Gonna change the game. But of course, he fell in the draft because of the character concerns and red flags. But the Vikings, Denny Green, respect. They look past that because they saw a guy with infinite talent, a guy who had made some mistakes, needed some maturity, needs some growing up, and he landed here in the great state of Minnesota with the Minnesota Vikings, had a great big brother in Chris Carter, had a great father figure in Denny Green, and they got after him, man. There has never been a Randy Moss in the league up until that point. There has never been another Randy Moss since then. And it was just great, man. Because I just remember watching the AM Sports Centers, because that's what you had to do as a kid back then, because there was no DVR. Like, maybe you tape things, but watching the highlights, what did Marshall do this week, all that stuff, or going through Sports Illustrated or Sport Magazine and just looking at all the clips and the highlights and just like, oh, the write-ups of Randy Moss, ooh. And also the foresight. Again, this is another clear sign of BPA, best player available versus drafting for need, because the Vikings, I mean, that defense, 97 was not great. They certainly could have used some help in the secondary as well as up front. But hey, guess what? Even though you had Chris Carter, Hall of Fame receiver, you had Jake Reed, multiple 1,000-yard receiver, and even though it was not a wide open, 3-wide, 11 personnel league like it is today, the Vikings had the foresight, like, hey, we're going to take Randy Moss because he has top 5 talent. He has Hall of Fame caliber upside, and we're going to get after it, man. And it was just a good day. Like, it really solidified me as a fan of the draft, of course, as a fan of the Vikings, because you know how cool it is to want and need a draft prospect to work out, have a huge crush on them, your team grabs them, and then they absolutely hit it out of the park. That was Randy Moss to me, man. So it's a really good day 25 years ago. Also, if you remember that draft, it's time for your blood pressure medication. And also, you should probably ice your back. And also maybe get a prostate exam. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on. But that's it. 25-year anniversary, Randy Moss becoming a Viking. Skull, no production value.